a mission isn't forever. It isn't if it's 10 years and you're on some mission, that's hard to get inspired. That's hard to be like, okay, I'm going to go today and I need to deliver this. I need to get this client and serve this client so that I can get this result 10 years down the road. Welcome to the Business Growth Masterclass, where business growth is made simple. Listen as we discuss best practices to streamline your business, increase your profits, and ultimately create healthier, more stable, and valuable companies. Hear from experts on how they grew their businesses. Learn from their wins, their losses, and everything in between. Can you clearly articulate your vision for your company to your employees? How can you expect your teams to make great decisions if they don't know where the company is going and why? Today, we're going to teach you how to use a simple and concise tool to communicate your vision for your business with your team. Learn how to unlock your team's creativity with a simple and effective tool.
All right. So I'm Kellen. I'm one of the co-hosts here and a business coach at Stag Business Coaching, and here with Albert.
Hello.
Albert, when business owners hear about a mission statement, I think they often roll their eyes, or at least employees do. They're thinking some fluffy words and, maybe good sounding, but not the thing you think about day to day. Most people don't have the mission statement memorized for the business that they're in. So can you explain to the people listening what we mean when we are talking about a mission statement here at Stag Business Coaching?
Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head. What everyone's opinion of what a mission statement is some, meaningless, poetic words that,
right.
The owners go off on some retreat in some island and come down from on high.
Yeah. Very idealistic.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, ridiculous, hard to apply. No one remembers it.
Doesn't always feel connected to reality on the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what we mean by that is something a lot more tactical, a lot more practical.
Yes.
What we call a mission statement is something that contains 3 economic objectives, a deadline, and a clear reason why the mission is important. So
you say 3 economic objectives. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah. So it's something that is measurable, that is tied to the performance of the business, the bottom line, the revenue, the income, number of customers, something that drives the company revenue and drives the company profit. Businesses exist to make money.
Right.
We're there to solve a problem, to create value for our customers, to deliver value for our customers. But at the end of the day, that has to mean something. It has
Absolutely.
to be a certain level of profitability. It has to make a certain amount of revenue. And so really, we will accomplish X by Y date because of Z. And so a mission isn't forever. It isn't if it's 10 years and you're on some mission, that's hard to get inspired. That's hard to be like, okay, I'm going to go today and I need to deliver this. I need to get this client and serve this client so that I can get this result 10 years down the road.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people miss about mission statements, or I guess what people think of with mission statements. Like, again, going back to the example of a generic, idealistic sounding phrase, it doesn't seem like it's tied to any deadline. And it doesn't seem like, well, let's get these numbers by this date, right?
Yeah. And I think that, like, when you think about a mission, like, you're on a mission. There's a purpose behind this. There's
clearly defined.
There is like intention that we're here to do something, accomplish our mission, and then let's go to the next one. And so I think that's an important point in this, is that mission statements aren't forever. They're not etched in stone and put on the wall.
Right.
It's a mission that has a clear, measurable completion.
Yeah. Beginning and end.
And the deadline, I think within 2 years for sure. Anything longer than 2 years, and you kind of start to lose urgency. And so we typically like to steer our clients towards something 12 to 24 months.
Yeah. And 24 months is even like stretching it, I think, because 2 years from now, who knows what can happen? I mean, it's still good to set a goal. within that. But I'm thinking that's definitely the outer edge of what makes sense in terms of a mission, a true mission.
For sure.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess we've already talked about that a little bit. Why do those mission statements, or why does a mission statement have value in an organization? I mean, we've already spoken to that a little bit, but for someone who's skeptical out there, it's like, mission statements just don't make sense for my business. What would you say to that?
Yeah. And most owners, their response to that is like, my people know I want them to sell more.
Right.
I want them to get more clients. I want them to sell more widgets. I want them to, go out, do their job.
Yeah. Make more sales
Yeah. And I think that's misguided. If people know, because people want feedback, people want to know, am I doing a good job?
Right.
And if you can give them something measurable, like this is where the company is going, and this is what you need to do in your role to help us get there.
Yeah.
You create this clarity, and that's so much of what this is doing, and is forcing the business leaders and the business owners is to get really clear on where is the business going in the next 2 years. And if the owner can articulate that, which a lot of times they can't,
which is a problem by itself. Right?
That's a problem. Like how can you possibly be able to tell your team and employees they're doing a good job if you don't know where specifically you want to be in 2 years?
Yeah.
And this sounds so, MBA master's degree, but this is just a very practical thing that you can communicate from, your most senior managers down to, your part-time hourly help. Hey, this is what we're trying to do in the next 2 years. And if you can articulate that to what that means for their role, you unlock so much creativity in your people because they're thinking like owners. And that is important.
Yeah. You just brought this idea to mind. One of my early mentors was talking to me when I was struggling with some of the people I was managing my first role over a group of people. And one of the things he said is, most people want to do a good job, but most people don't know what that looks like or how to define that.
Mm-hmm.
And that all goes to the leadership, right? If I, as a business owner, don't even know what targets I have for the business in general, how in the world am I going to tell anybody in a specific role what success looks like for them that then ties to that overall business goal? So I love that, because just the idea that our people will be motivated if we can point them to that North Star and say, this is what we're headed towards. And specifically, these measurables these are the targets that we need to hit. And here's what your part of that means. It's just a really powerful way to lead a team. So do you update? I mean, we've already touched on this a bit, but how often would you update your mission statement if you're a small business owner?
Yeah, I think when you hit either you accomplish the mission early, or when that deadline comes, you hit that time point. And so they are revised and renewed, every 12 to 24 months based on the results of the business. And it's an exercise, an important exercise to go through every so often is, where do I want to be in the next 2 years? And then you go 2 years down the road and your horizon is much broader, or maybe it's not. But yeah, it's a mission, and missions have beginning and endings.
Yeah.
And then once you get to the end, we need to go on another mission.
And when we're doing this mission, we're not just checking in, we're not just having the initial meeting and setting these targets. And then, 2 years from now or a year from now, we're checking in to see, did we hit the targets? That's not how it works, right? So can you talk a little bit about how you hold people accountable and how often you're checking in and just what that looks like?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so you have these broader, 2-year targets that are big.
Yeah.
And, it's, I'm going to use the cliche analogy, but it's this big elephant. And how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so how we operate and how we coach businesses to operate is to set 90-day targets. Okay. That's 3 months.
Yep.
That's
1 quarter.
That creates urgency. You can go into your office every day and you can see 90 days, 89 days, 88 days. It creates a sense of urgency. And so what we do is we huddle the troops every 90 days and we say, okay, what do we need to get done in the next 90 days for each department, for each role, so that we are moving closer towards that vision? And then we're meeting with our people. That's our all staff meeting every Monday morning. That's the purpose of that, is to review, okay, here's our 90-day targets. What did we do last week to move closer to that? What went good? What went bad? What obstacles are in your way? What do you need help with?
Yeah.
And then what are we going to do the next week?
Right.
And each department head, comes prepared with the results and plans to solve problems and actions planned for the next week. And it's just a really, it's a formal thing, but just having to come prepared with the results, explanations for what went wrong, and a few things that you're going to try to address that. And then if needed, you've got the group there to help problem solve together. But it gets really, really clear on we're a results oriented company.
Yeah.
Rather than people just being busy, because everyone's busy. Everyone's working hard. Everyone's putting in their time. But if we can be really intentional and make sure that our people are doing the things that bring results, that deliver value to our customers, that deliver value to our business, and hold people accountable to that, that's just how you do business.
Yeah, I think that's so insightful about people being busy. Even if you don't give people something to do or a clear target, usually they're going to find something to be busy with. I mean, hopefully it's not scrolling social media all day, but oftentimes if you have a good employee, they're still going to find something to do, but it may not be tied to what you're hoping the business will accomplish, or it won't drive bottom line results. So busyness is not the same thing as productivity towards the goal. And I feel like that's a regular problem that you see in businesses, is people who are busy but not really productive in terms of what's going to help the business achieve its goals. So can you give an example of what a business's mission statement might sound like, the kind of mission statement we're talking about that's going to drive that bottom line result?
Yeah, I've got one written down right here that is specific to not our coaching company, but just a coaching company in general. So it reads, we will serve 30 new clients, sell 5 new retainer packages, and receive 98% client satisfaction survey results by December 31st, because everybody deserves the help they need to grow their business.
Okay.
And so you can see in that there's 3 measurable targets, 30 new clients, 5 new retainer packages, and a 98% client satisfaction.
Okay. So if I'm out there, if I'm a salesman for this hypothetical business, now I've got a number and I can break that down into 90-day targets.
Yep.
And I can even break that down further into, okay, if that's my 90-day number, then maybe this month I need to hit at least this many, right? So it's so powerful to do it that way, and just makes everybody know what success looks like. So I love it. The other thing that when you're reading that I was thinking about is, you have 3 different economic objectives that are in different parts of the business. Mm-hmm. I know you said that at least that first number was more sales oriented. And then what was the last one?
Receive a 98% client satisfaction.
Yeah.
Survey.
So maybe then that's like, how did we do,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's more tied to the actual execution,
Mm-hmm.
After the sale. But when we're providing the service or the product or whatever it is that we do, now I have an economic objective that's more in that zone.
Right.
So would you say that depending on what my business type is, those economic objectives, maybe I need to think carefully about which buckets they fall into, which categories of the business they fall into?
Yeah, ultimately you want each of those to drive revenue,
right,
and drive profit. And within that, marketing plays a role, sales plays a role, operations, like actually delivering the goods or service, like that's implied.
Yeah.
With all of that. But we need to think about our business as revenue driving. There are certain roles that aren't necessarily revenue. They're not revenue creating.
Right.
But if we can frame them in a way that they're playing the same game, they're trying to affect the profitability and the revenue growth of the business, you have everybody on the boat rowing in the same direction.
Yeah.
And that is your job as the business leader is to, you're the pilot flying the plane, and the destination. The destination are these 3 economic objectives. And your role as the leader is to reverse engineer the safe arrival of that airplane. And so if you can communicate that clearly to your people, they have clarity. They know what it means to do a good job, and then they can use their creativity within their role. They're really good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And if they know where they need to go, they can use their creative brain, their experiences, their know-how and problem solving to solve things that you don't know how to solve, but they're moving towards the same target that the business is going towards.
Yeah. So if I'm in charge of social media at a company, or if I'm a graphic designer, not all companies have an internal graphic designer, but let's just go with me. If I know that maybe these big economic objectives in the mission statement are directly tied to me, but I can see how these posts that I make need to get so much engagement, because that in turn leads to more leads coming into the business, which in turn leads to sales.
Yep.
So as a business owner, I'm thinking about these big goals in the mission statement, and then working my way backward into every person, every role on the team, and what their goals need to be in order for all of us to achieve that big mission statement. Would you say that's
exactly that?
Okay.
That is as a business leader, that this is a tool that you're saying where we're going. And then when I say reverse engineering, you're breaking that down and teaching. If we can be teachers and teach our teams and our employees what it means, how to do business.
Yeah. what
it means to be profitable, to look at the profit and loss statement and know how their role affects that. And then if you can break that down, your social media example is educating them on a sales funnel that, each gate within this funnel has a certain yield percent. 20% of the leads go to this point. Then from that, 60% of those leads go here. And then you can kind of help them reverse engineer that to see what they are doing and how that affects the rest of the business. And that's our job as business leaders is to continue to be teachers, continue to pour into our people, so that they get it. They get the game of business.
And they have that owner mindset of this part that I play actually is going to make a difference in the business, and I know why.
Absolutely.
That's I think that's something that a lot of people are just not able to articulate, and this is why they need to have this big picture vision that they can share with everyone, and then you can communicate what that means to everyone else. Well, if I'm a business owner and I bought in, I want to do this, where can they start? How do they go about this process?
Yeah, and I would send them to our website.
Yeah.
We have a free business assessment that is step 1. We have clients, you fill out this business assessment, and it basically works through each area of your business and helps you really discern where are my weaknesses and where are my strengths. And then from that, you get a really detailed and really valuable report. And then let's get on a call. Let's schedule a meeting and talk through that, and talk through where are you weak as a business. And then you can engage us at Stag Business Coaching to work through that, to give you some tools and walk alongside you and execute this together and get your business healthier, more streamlined, more profitable, and ultimately more valuable.
Absolutely. We would love to do it. We would be excited to speak with anyone about this in particular mission statement and all the other things that we have to offer with Stag Business Coaching. So, Albert, thank you for breaking this down for us and talking about a mission statement today. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Business Growth Masterclass, and we'll talk to you next time.
If you enjoyed this podcast, if you got value out of this podcast, go ahead and click the subscribe button. We would love for you to continue listening and get more value from this. Thanks.
Thank you.